Here is what I said in my first Bible review that really took off. It has over 14,000 views now, I think. And this is what I said about Bible sizes 2 years ago.
To be honest with you, though, I think these are great for certain things. These are great for other things. But they are kind of a little bit on one side of the scale and the other side of the scale. This is a little on the large size. This is a little on the small size. I actually like this size Bible right here. And if you're just looking for a long-term investment to say, I want a really nice Bible, then I would recommend Schuyler, as long as you really know ahead of time that if you get the Quintel, it's going to be a pretty big Bible. And if you get the personal size, it's going to be a little on the small side. It's not really a happy medium. But maybe someday Schuyler will put out a happy medium Bible.
So I was thinking about making this video, and it was really just something I was mulling over in my mind. And this morning, I happened to be watching a video by David Lee Brown where he's talking about his Dream Bible rebind. And he mentioned something that is directly correlated with the topic that I wanted to talk about. He was talking about the perfect size Bible and how the Bible that he is showing in that video is like really the ideal size Bible. And as I'm listening to him talk about this, I couldn't believe it, because I was thinking about covering this very subject, and I thought, wow, this is providential. I mean, this is definitely God's timing right now that he would talk about this. And on top of that, I was just reading in Ecclesiastes chapter 3 this morning about there being a time for everything and God making everything fit beautifully in its time. So I took all of these things as a sign that this was the right time to talk about this subject. What I wanted to talk about is the idea of what I call the Goldilocks size Bible. So this is a Bible size that I think you can gather from the term Goldilocks based on the story, the children's story about Goldilocks, and she goes into the house. She keeps trying different things in the house where the three bears live. She talks about how some things are too far one way and some are too far another, maybe too big, too small, too cold, too hot, but some things are just right. And that's what I mean when I talk about a Goldilocks size Bible. I'm talking about a Bible that is just the right size. And this is something, as I said, that I've been talking about actually for a while. I've seen other people mention it in videos and online, making comments online. So, I mean, it is something that people have talked about quite a bit. And so I thought it's worth covering in this video what I mean by a perfect size Bible, a Goldilocks size Bible. So I have a couple examples that I want to show of what I consider to be that just the right size Bible. And the first is this Cambridge Concord. And as you can see, I mean, it's a Bible that you can hold it easily. I think that's what David Lee Brown was talking about in that video. Very easy to hold. But when you open it, it has a good print size to it. It's something that you can actually carry into the pulpit and still read it pretty easily. You can put it on a table, or you can have it on your lap at a Bible study. I mean, it's just a good all-round use type of a Bible, in my opinion, because it's just the right size. Another good example of the Goldilocks size Bible would be the Allan 52. I think, again, it's not too big, it's not too small. The print in it is really a good size print. So this Allan 52 Bible would be another example of a Bible I would say fits into that Goldilocks just right category. Now, I'm not saying that these Bibles are good for every kind of use, because some Bibles people really want to write in more, like wide margin Bibles. Some people want to have something that's really light and easy to carry. So I understand that it's good to have different size Bibles. But when it comes to some of the most popular Bibles, other than the King James Version that I've been showing here, it's hard to find this Goldilocks size Bible, especially in something that's done on a premium quality level. So I have the Quintel. And the Quintel is not much larger than what I'm talking about, but it is a little bit larger. And the older Quintels used to be even heavier with heftier paper, 36 GSM paper. So they have lightened these up a bit, which I do think helps. And they're more in the Goldilocks zone now than they used to be, but they're still a little bit on that large side. There are a lot of Bibles coming out that are even a little larger than that quintel, especially in terms of thickness. This one here is the recent McLaren series New King James Version. And again, it's a lot like the quintel in its footprint. A little bit bigger than what I'm talking about as being like the perfect size. A little bit on the large side. I will say though that the advantage of these Bibles is they have a nice large print. So that is a good thing about a larger Bible. But they're not as easy to carry. They're not quite as easy to take with you to church or to put on your lap, hold when you're at a Bible study, something like that. Now, if you want something really portable, a lot of the personal size Bibles are really good for travel purposes, taking with you, fitting in a bag easily. And so this is a CSB personal size Bible. Also, the quintel, the personal size quintel, PSQ as it's sometimes called, is another great travel Bible. So these are the Bibles that are great for just holding very easily, taking with you places. You can use it when you're doing hospital visits or going on visitation. Great for travel use. So I do like personal size Bibles. I do think there's a place for the small, compact kind of Bible. I heard someone recently talking about how they could take a Bible this size. This is kind of the size of the Pit Minion too, by the way. And you could just fit it in your back pocket. A lot of guys will do that. So personal size Bibles do have a place. Large size Bibles also have a place. If you're preaching at the pulpit and you want nice large size print, these are ideal for that. But I think there is really a market and a demand in the market for what I'm talking about, this mid-size, medium-size kind of a Bible, that Goldilocks size that to me is just right between the large Bibles and the small Bibles. Now I will say that Schuyler has started to put out the Treveris, which is more this size of a Bible. And that's great. The only thing is the Treveris's format is really unique, and it's really more about reading the Bible, and it's formatted in such a way that you don't have the verse numbers in the text next to each verse. They're, I think, on the outside margin of the text. And so that makes it a little bit harder to use in a church setting, like if you're preaching or teaching or trying to follow along with the pastor and he says, go to verse 24, because the verses aren't right there in the text. It's more about a read-through experience. So this isn't a criticism of the Treveris, it's just that the Treveris is a really unique format for a particular purpose. Whereas what I'm talking about in this video is something that's just right and more of an all-round use Bible. And that's why I use the Concord and the Allan 52 as examples. I think these are just fantastic Bibles. However, they're only available in the King James Version. So it would be nice to see some other Bible versions available, other translations available in this size of a Bible at a premium level quality. Now, I'm not a Bible marketing expert, and I know that the Bible production companies have reasons why they make the choices that they do. But I really think that they could market it in a way where they could keep selling these larger Bibles and smaller Bibles, but they would increase their sales if they had these Goldilocks size Bibles. So in the case of Schuyler, I would say a good way to market that would be, the regular quintel. I would call that a large print Bible, because compared to a lot of Bibles out there on the market, the quintel is actually a large print Bible. It's an 11-point Milo font, very easy to read. I don't think the camera's really picking it up well, but the Schuyler font is really more of a large font Bible. So there is a market for that. When people say, oh, I need something that's a large font, the Schuyler quintel is great for that. And then the PSQ is a personal size, a travel Bible, and there's definitely a market for that. But adding to that what you might call a mid-size quintel, and I think that's the term that I heard Tim Wildsmith use. So thank you, Tim Wildsmith, if you came up with that idea. But like a mid-size quintel, to me, would be another size of a Bible that there would really be a great market for. And I'm not the only one saying that. I think a lot of people are saying that. and I've been saying it for quite a while. But I think this is the right time to make a pitch for this size of a Bible. Not just with Schuyler, I think it'd be great if other companies would do that. I do have to admit, Allan does have an ESV1 and I think also an NIV, maybe some other translations that are about the size that I'm talking about. So they are out there, but Allan has very limited quantities. So it'd be great to see other Bible publishers like Schuyler, Nelson, Zondervan, and others who are producing premium quality Bibles to really try to come up with something that is this mid-size that I'm talking about, this Goldilocks just right size. By the way, one other thing I just want to throw in here is that David Lee Brown on his video asked how to pronounce a certain color, and I took the time to look it up, so I'm going to do a public service announcement and say that the color that he's talking about in that video, I think it was the liner, he said it's spelled C-O-G-N-A-C, and the pronunciation that I looked up according to the dictionaries online is cognac. So if you're wondering how to pronounce that color, it is, I think, based on a French brandy, which is a certain color of brown, I guess. And so you have that color that they call cognac or cognac, just depending on your accent. But basically, that's how you pronounce it. So thank you, David, for just being another catalyst in helping me to make this video, make a pitch for the Goldilocks just right size Bible. If you agree with what I'm saying in this video, I really encourage you to leave comments, like this video, and I think by doing that, you're really letting the publishers know that you agree with what I'm saying here and that there is a demand for this size Bible. I think they know that, but for whatever reason, they just haven't gotten around to producing these Bibles yet. So I'm hoping that videos like this will just be something that will encourage them to look into that more, and maybe before long we'll see something like a mid-size Quentel and other Bibles that are what I call the Goldilocks just right size Bibles. But thank you so much for listening to another rant and some of my opinions on Bibles brought to you from A Frisch Perspective.